We got a triple dose of good news within the last couple of days at West Ham, and we deserve it as West Ham fans. I think we took a bit of a hammering towards the end of last season, particularly from the mainstream media, and there's been so many negative stories, particularly the whole Lucas Paquetá saga, particularly with the overhaul of the club. That actually has been nice the last couple of days to see Tim Steidten and Lopetegui sit down and do their press conference, which we discussed obviously yesterday in the video there. That's been really, really good, and there's been some excellent good news today as well. There's a feel-good factor around the club at the moment, isn't there? Players are all back to training tomorrow, and there's some news. I won't do an individual video about it, but news that Andy Irving is coming back and he's going to start training, so he's got a chance to impress Lopetegui. There's been a lot of stuff that's been discussed. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of this video. But the big news for today, and the good news, is that Mohammed Kudus's buyout clause of £85 million has expired. Now, I'm not going to take you back through the lineage of the story on this, but this is really, really good news. Now, all I would say is that this news coming out now and the timing of it probably indicates quite how much or little interest there was in Kudus from the likes of Manchester City and from the likes of Liverpool. And actually, I want to point out just how good the timing of this clause was. Because Man City could, let's be fair, buy him now. I know there's some people who say, well, Manchester City can't buy anybody because of the rules, rule schmalls. And if anybody's shown that, it's Manchester City. If Man City want to buy someone, they'll buy someone. They're going to tie all the rules up in legal tape for a long, long time. And quite frankly, I hope they win, because if these rules come in, then get set for a good 30 years of dominance from Manchester United, a little bit from Liverpool, with Arsenal. Make no mistake about it. These rules that Manchester City are fighting, they're fighting them on their own behalf for selfish reasons. But if these rules get fully implemented, clubs the size of West Ham are doing nothing. They will stop us from doing everything. Anyway, my point is, Manchester City will buy who they want. If they had wanted Mohammed Kudus, they would have come and got him. Maybe Liverpool is slightly different. Maybe Liverpool are going to be waiting for the money from Mohamed Salah to come in before they can make a bid and buy big. In which case, they could still technically bid for Mohammed Kudus. They just couldn't get him for 85 million. But the club have said, and the whole point is this is a feel-good factor video. I just want that to be the case. The club have said, no, the clause is dead. It expired at midnight last night. And that's it. It's done. We're not accepting any more bids. He's here for the foreseeable future, and he will not be sold this summer. Great news, and that sort of mirrored what was being said by Lopetegui and what was said by Tim Steidten, and that's great. I'm so excited to see Mohammed Kudus play for West Ham again next season. His second seasons are usually better. I mean, he'll have settled in. Absolutely brilliant. But I think the point I wanted to make is, Man City would have known that clause ended at the end of June. I mean, so much so, if you're one of the Hammers Chat patrons, myself and Gio discussed this a week ago. We discussed when that Florian Plassenberg, is it Plattenberg or Plattenberg, whatever it is, Plattenberg, whoever it is, the Sky Sports journalist who said it's open now. Myself and Gio discussed it, and during that video we said this is going to be open for a very finite time right now. If they don't get the transfer business done, then it's not gonna get done. And that was us over on Patreon. That was a week ago we said that. Then on my video on Sunday, which I'll play you a clip of in a minute, I make the case that basically that they have to buy Kudus now. That it's obvious. It's obvious to one and all that Kudus's buyout clause is only active in June. Now, I'm not being funny. If I knew it, if we certainly knew it a week ago over on Hammers Chat Patreon, of course Manchester City are going to know it. And here's really my point. They knew it and then didn't activate it. But not only them, nobody did. And I'm not saying Kudus is crap, by the way. I'm relieved. I'm really, really pleased. But maybe we shouldn't have got as panicked as we did do. But it does make you wonder. It does make you wonder if just possibly he's not as in as massive demand as some would think. Here's what I said on Sunday. The buyout clause for Mohammed Kudus in 2025 was 1 month. It was in July. We were certainly told that the buyout clause in 2024 for Lucas Paquetá was 1 month. It was in July. If we are to assume that Plattenberg is right and that Mohammed Kudus also has a buyout clause, then you'd have to assume that they're going to have constructed it in exactly the same way that they constructed the one for Lucas Paquetá, right? So they're going to do a month. But it can't be July because the journalist said it's open now. And if it's open now, it's going to be June. And, well, that's it. I mean, June is, that's it. It's over. By the time we get to the end of today, it's done. So you'd think that someone would have made a bid, right? They didn't. This is really, really good news. That would have been a massive sigh of relief from the club to think, let's get this. Let's move. Let's get this thing out of the way. This big sort of millstone hanging over our neck. Now, it would appear that because that information's correct, it would also probably appear to be that the information for next season, with there being 1 month, 1 calendar month in which you could buy Mohammed Kudus, would also be accurate. And then that's it. It's over. So if we can get through that, you know, we've pretty much got him. It's also the same with Lucas Paquetá, which is, I don't think that was June. I think that was July, as I just explained. Lucas Paquetá, if he doesn't get bought now, in this month, then we're gonna have a little bit of an interesting situation going on there, aren't we? Really. So I know it's different because of his FA charge and everything associated with it. These clauses are a pain in the bum. They really are. I think the club were really keen to ensure that there wasn't one for Luis Guilherme, and well done for. I think they were asked to put that into negotiation. There's still something with the club whereby there's a 20% sell-on clause, but there's not a buyout clause in the player's contract, meaning basically if anybody comes and bids that amount, or in the case of Paquetá or Kudus, someone bids 85 million, they automatically have to accept it and they get to speak to the player. That's how it works. They get permission to speak to the player. So, I mean, this is a massive boost for West Ham. It really is a massive, just a real massive dollop of good news on the back of everything that happened yesterday. And I know I did my video yesterday about Julian Lopetegui and Tim Steidten, but I sort of couldn't get over it, really. I found myself... I watched the whole thing in its entirety, did the video on it, and then found myself watching snippets of it. And since then, he's gone back, and I think he's also, obviously on the same day, he's done a one-on-one interview with Sky, and they appear to be drip-feeding bits out. Now he's apparently said he's going to get a cup of coffee with David Moyes or something. So I've not seen all the extended interview from that. But my point is, I cannot get enough of this Lopetegui stuff. I love the way he was talking about personality. I love the way he was talking about character in his videos. And I'm just incredibly excited to find out how he's going to proceed and how he's going to play these players. So it's great news, Mohammed Kudus staying at West Ham. And it's great that the club, you know, can so frequently we get negative leaks. For them to leak, actually, it's over. The transfer release clause elapsed at midnight yesterday, and we're not selling him. I mean, that's the good stuff. That's the stuff you want leaked, isn't it, really? Because that's some really, really good messaging out there. It's a little bit troubling maybe how Plassenberg got the information in the first place, which is a little bit of a concern. But it would have been known. The clubs would have known this, and that's what I was wondering earlier. Can we honestly believe that nobody else knew it was in June? Only some media people, some people on YouTube and stuff. Of course not. The big clubs would have known it. They decided not to come in. So I'm really excited. What position is he going to play him in? This is interesting. Is he going to play him off the left hand side? That's how David Moyes sort of finished the season playing him, didn't it? On that left hand side. I don't know. But, I mean, he doesn't really play wingers as such. They're more tucked in, inverted forwards or whatever you want to call them. Probably not inverted forwards. Operate in a half space, apparently. I don't know what a half space is. I'm going to find out, though. I am going to find out what a half space is because we got some pretty exciting stuff coming up on Hammers Chat Patreon, by the way. And if you're part of Patreon at the moment, then we're going to be revealing to you exactly what's going on. We've got something really new coming up for this upcoming season. In fact, we're going to be starting it very, very soon. We've got several new things. We're trying to get bigger, trying to get better, trying to expand what we do on Hammers Chat Patreon. If you don't know what Hammers Chat Patreon is, it's basically our third Hammers Chat channel. It's one of the reasons we're able to upload on here and on our other main channel every single day to bring daily West Ham content. And what you get on our third channel is loads and loads of additional stuff, loads of podcasts. There's so much more extra content. It almost defies explanation. You get big discounts to our online store, by the way. You get match-worn shirts. You get signed shirts. No, I don't mean match-worn shirts by us, by the actual players. Loads of competitions. Loads of giveaways. We do events. We do so much stuff over on Hammers Chat, and it's a great way for you guys to go and support us. We've got a free 7-day trial at the moment. Want to go and give it a little look, then you can do that. Go and check out the 7-day trial. Most of all, it helps us, along with our amazing sponsors like ETC Sports, Match Bingo, of course, and Manscaped, and you guys watching the horrible, annoying adverts, which I know you have to suffer on these videos. All of that stuff goes towards helping us do this for a job, which is why we're able to sort of sit here and discuss. Not just Mohammed, just like yesterday, I was able to watch the press conference and then immediately do a video, and there's some wonderful comments on there, actually, where people were really interested in what Lopetegui and what Stuyton had to say. So anyway, the link is in the description below, patreon.com/HammersChat. If you'd like to come and support us over there, we would very, very much appreciate it. The people are back for training tomorrow. The players are back for training tomorrow. Now, obviously, not all of them. Obviously, Jarrod Bowen's not going to be there. I would imagine, obviously, anybody that's participated in any sort of international competition, even if it's over, even if they got knocked out early, then they're going to get a little bit more rest than everybody else. So I think it's a really important time for some of the players. Irving would be a really good case in point, and the younger players who've been in training anyway. They've been going and doing extra stuff. That's a chance to catch the manager's eye before the big hitters come in. Clearly, Jarrod Bowen's going to be a big part of West Ham. Wouldn't say any different, but has Lopetegui got a different role in mind for him? Is he going to be a striker? Is he going to be a right winger? Maybe he'll play him off the left. Maybe it's Kudus that plays on the right. Who knows? But whoever it is going to fill in for Jarrod Bowen in the interim in training when they're playing those small-sided games or the 11-a-side games or whatever they do, that guy's got a chance to impress. If it is George Earthy, he's got a real chance to impress there. Might not even be there. Might be someone like Maxwell Cornet. And I just think it's a really, really exciting time. And I tried to put myself in the minds of an elite football player. Don't laugh. I tried to put the mind, not the body, the mind of an elite football player. And how would it be if you'd been so down in the dumps from last season that you probably didn't fancy it very much? I'll use an example of Mikel Antonio. I'm not laying any blame at David Moyes for Mikel Antonio. I'm really not. I think David Moyes was wonderful for Antonio's career. I don't want to be misquoted on that, far from it. But for whatever reason, Antonio was unhappy. He was struggling with his mental health last season. He said sometimes he wished injury upon himself so he didn't have to play. That ain't good. And I know that's an extreme example of someone really, really not wanting to go into work, right? But there will be other players who didn't want to go into work, who maybe weren't suffering as much as Antonio was, but maybe someone like Maxwell Cornet who knew. I mean, Maxwell Cornet had got last season, he got a goal, didn't he? He got an assist. I think possibly even in back-to-back games. And West Ham were playing crap at the time, yet he still wasn't rewarded with a starting berth. And you felt with Cornet, well, I did anyway last season, that his substitute appearances were getting gradually better. And then he scored the goal, and then he was just dumped out. And then the next time we saw him as a sub, he was awful. And I felt, looking at it, it was like his spirit had been crushed. I think reading between the lines, and all I can do is read between the lines and imagine this to be the case because I don't know. It was almost as if Cornet had thought, I've scored the goal, now's my chance. Now Moyes is going to give me a chance, and it never happened. And I imagine he was so dejected. And there will be people who aren't involved and didn't really get their chance last season, who quite possibly are now thinking, well, hold on a minute. I got a chance here. And the spring in their step they probably get from a new manager being involved and a new manager saying, I'm going to give you a chance. It's a clean slate. And I mean, he was impressive. I know it. Well, I was going to say it wasn't just me. I know it wasn't just me because so many of you left comments on the video yesterday, and the vast majority of people were very, very impressed with what they saw and were very buoyed and were very enthusiastic about what the future holds for West Ham. And most people thought that Lopetegui spoke really well. So that's an interview now. I've seen him, on camera before. I've seen him behind the scenes videos. Seen him meeting back rooms, not just back room staff, meeting the tea lady and all that sort of stuff. He does seem to be an impressive individual, and it was Tim Stuyton that spoke about his communication. Was impressed with his communication, and that's not just the headline, the strap line on that was about him speaking 4 languages. I don't just think he meant how that he was multilingual. I think it was actually just communicating on a human level, sort of one-to-one. And you do get the impression that he's going to welcome people and he's going to give them a chance, and probably people are going to want to play for him. He's sort of got that personality, isn't he? It does seem to be the case. He's got a warmth to him, but he's got an authoritative sort of manner about him as well. I like it. I think it's good. It's really good. So I've got 1,000 thoughts buzzing around my head at the moment about this whole Lopetegui stuff. But yeah, really, really pleased. But I mean, double, triple whammy. Good news, really, following the press conference, and then back to training, and then just Mohammed Kudus, staying at West Ham. That clause being over. It's a big thing. In West Ham terms, I was going to say it's a big thing to worry about. It's not like worrying about paying your bills, but it's in West Ham terms a big thing to worry about. One of your favourite players, one of your best players, can just be snapped up like that by a rich club. But it never happens. But still, going back to the video, I refuse to believe that they didn't know about it. So maybe, just maybe, we were worrying a little bit unduly.